Every great story begins with a battle. Not a small one, but the kind that shakes you to your core. The kind that makes you question everything. Your decisions, your capabilities, even your worth. It feels like you're standing at the bottom of an unscalable mountain, staring at the peak through fog and rain. The weight on your shoulders is crushing, and every step forward feels harder than the last. You've been there, haven't you? Maybe you're there right now. Think about that moment, your lowest point, where you felt like giving up was your only option. Perhaps it's a job that suffocates you, a dream that seems to slip further away the harder you chase it, or a relationship where you've given everything, only to feel empty in return. It's that weight, that endless fight, that makes you wonder if it's even worth it. And you're not alone. Everyone fights a battle, even if they hide it well. You see someone smiling on the outside, but beneath the surface, they're barely holding it together. The truth is, life doesn't hand out battles equally. Some are born into privilege while others fight to survive. Some have their struggles handed to them, while others create their own battles through bad choices or missed opportunities. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how you got here. What matters is what you're going to do now. The hard truth is that life doesn't care about your feelings. It's brutal, unrelenting, and at times unfair. There are no shortcuts, no cheat codes. You've been hit before, knocked down, left scrambling to pick up the pieces. And the worst part? While you're struggling to get back up, the world doesn't stop to wait for you. Time keeps ticking. Opportunities pass. Competitors surge ahead. It feels like you're losing ground with every breath. It's exhausting. And then there's fear. Fear creeps in and whispers in your ear. What if you're not good enough? What if you fail? What if this is all you'll ever be? That fear is paralyzing, isn't it? It wraps around you like chains, holding you back from even trying. You tell yourself it's safer not to risk it, not to put yourself out there, because failing would hurt too much. But deep down, you know that's not true. Failing doesn't hurt as much as regret. The regret of never even trying. But let's talk about the pain of the battle itself. It's relentless. When you're fighting to get ahead, it feels like the universe conspires against you. Every step forward seems to come with 2 steps back. You're giving everything you've got, pouring in blood, sweat, and tears, but the progress is barely noticeable, and that's the cruel part of it. Struggles aren't over quickly. They linger. They demand persistence. Picture this. You're trying to break through a wall. Every hit takes something out of you. Your hands are blistered. Your muscles ache. Your mind screams at you to stop. And yet the wall barely cracks. This is what struggle feels like. A constant pounding that drains you physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's the fight against external obstacles. But more importantly, it's the fight against yourself. Because let's face it, the hardest battles are internal. It's not just the wall in front of you, it's the voice inside your head. The one that says you're wasting your time. The one that tells you to quit. That voice is your greatest enemy, and it knows all your weaknesses. It tells you you're not smart enough, strong enough, or resilient enough. It plays on your insecurities and convinces you that failure is inevitable. And you start to believe it. You look around and see people succeeding while you're stuck in place. You wonder why it's so easy for them and so hard for you. But here's the reality. They've fought battles too. You just didn't see them. No one posts their failures, their sleepless nights, or their moments of doubt. You're comparing your worst days to someone else's highlight reel. So you start to isolate yourself. You tell yourself that no one understands, that no one else has faced the kind of struggle you're going through. And in some ways, you're right. Your battle is uniquely yours. No one else knows the exact weight you're carrying. But that doesn't mean you're alone. It doesn't mean you're the only one who's ever felt lost, broken, or defeated. The irony is that struggle is universal. It's the one thing that connects us all. And yet, in the moment, it feels so deeply personal. It feels like the world is watching you fail, judging you for every misstep. But here's the truth. No one's watching as closely as you think. People are too busy fighting their own battles to focus on yours. And that's where the opportunity lies. Because while the world might not stop for you, it also doesn't set limits for you. There's no rule that says you have to stay down when you fall. There's no law that says you have to settle for less than what you're capable of. The only limits are the ones you place on yourself. And those limits, they're a product of fear, not reality. So what do? How do you keep going when the weight feels unbearable? How do you fight when every instinct tells you to surrender? It starts with a decision to face the battle head on, no matter how hard it gets. Because the truth is, the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. But before you can even think about victory, you have to confront the struggle. You have to accept it for what it is, a test, a challenge, a crucible that's designed to forge you into something stronger. Because that's what struggles do. They strip away the superficial, the unnecessary, and leave you with only what matters. They force you to grow in ways you never thought possible. You don't have to win today. You don't even have to win tomorrow. But you do have to fight. You have to keep pushing forward, no matter how small the steps. Because every step matters. Every effort, no matter how insignificant it feels, is a step closer to victory. And here's the most important part. Struggle isn't a punishment. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to prove to yourself that you're stronger than you think, that you can handle more than you ever imagined, that no matter how hard life gets, you have the power to rise above it. So, when you feel like you're drowning, when the weight of the world feels like too much, remember this: you're not being buried. You're being planted. The struggle is the soil, the pain is the water, and your resilience is the sun. Together, they'll help you grow into something unstoppable. Because the truth is, the battle is what makes the victory worth it. And every scar you earn along the way, it's just proof that you had the courage to fight. The breaking point, that's where most people give up. The moment when the struggle feels like it's too much, when the darkness closes in and the way forward is no longer visible. It's easy to quit here. It's tempting to let go, to stop pushing, to tell yourself, this is just how things are. But here's the secret. This breaking point, it's not the end. It's the beginning. It's the start of something greater, something transformative. When you're standing on the edge, looking down into what feels like an endless abyss, you have two choices. You can fall into the darkness, let it consume you, and become another victim of the struggle. Or you can step back, take a deep breath, and say, not today. This moment, this crossroads, is where change happens. It's where you decide that the struggle isn't going to break you. It's going to make you. Think about it. Every success story you've ever heard started with a decision. The decision to try one more time, to give it everything, even when it felt like there was nothing left to give. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before he created the light bulb. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. These people didn't give up because they saw something most of us miss. Struggle isn't a roadblock. It's a stepping stone. So let's reframe the way you see struggle. Right now, you might be thinking, why me? Why does it have to be so hard? But what if you asked a different question? What if instead of why me, you asked, what is this teaching me? Struggles are teachers in disguise. They force you to dig deeper, to find strength you didn't know you had. They reveal weaknesses, yes, but only so you can turn them into strengths. Here's the truth. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Every setback, every failure, every heartbreak, it's all preparing you for something bigger. But you won't see it unless you're willing to step back and look at the bigger picture. That's the turning point. It's the moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as the hero of your story. But let's be honest, the turning point isn't easy. It requires you to face some hard truths about yourself. It requires you to take responsibility for your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's not something most people want to do. It's easier to blame others, to point fingers, to make excuses. But excuses don't lead to victory. They lead to stagnation. Here's the shift you need to make. Stop focusing on what's out of your control and start focusing on what is in your control. You can't change the past, and you can't control other people's actions, but you can control how you respond. You can control your attitude, your effort, and your mindset. That's where your power lies. Let's break it down. Imagine you're in a boxing match, and your opponent is life itself. Every punch it throws is another struggle, a failed relationship, a job you didn't get, a dream that seems out of reach. The punches hurt. They knock you down. But here's the thing. It's not about how many punches you take. It's about how many times you get back up. That's what separates the winners from the quitters. The winners don't stay down. They rise again and again, no matter how many times they get knocked out. The turning point is also about perspective. Most people see struggles as obstacles, but what if you saw them as opportunities? Every struggle is a chance to grow, to learn, to become stronger. It's like lifting weights at the gym. The heavier the weight, the harder it is to lift. But over time, your muscles adapt. They grow stronger, and the weight that once felt impossible to lift becomes easy. The same is true for life's struggles. The more you face them, the stronger you become. But there's a catch. Growth isn't automatic. Just like in the gym, you have to put in the work. You have to show up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. That's what separates those who thrive from those who merely survive. And let's not forget the role of mindset. Your mind is your most powerful weapon. It can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. If you tell yourself you're not good enough, you won't be. If you tell yourself you're a failure, you'll act like one. But if you tell yourself you're unstoppable, that no struggle is too big for you to overcome, you'll start to believe it. And when you believe it, you'll act on it. Here's a simple truth. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. You can choose to let the struggle defeat you, or you can choose to rise above it. That choice is yours, and yours alone. But don't confuse the turning point with the finish line. Deciding to fight back is just the beginning. The real work starts now. It's about consistency, persistence, and resilience. It's about showing up every day, even when it feels like you're not making progress. Because progress isn't always visible. Sometimes it's happening beneath the surface, in ways you can't see yet. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. Think about a seed planted in the ground. For days, weeks, even months, it looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, that seed is breaking open, putting down roots, and preparing to grow. Then, one day it breaks through the soil and reaches for the sky. That's how progress works. It's slow, it's invisible, but it's happening. And when it finally breaks through, it's unstoppable. So, when you're standing at your turning point, remember this. The struggle isn't here to destroy you. It's here to build you. It's here to teach you. It's here to prepare you for the victory that's waiting on the other side. But you have to be willing to fight for it. You have to be willing to embrace the pain, the fear, the uncertainty, and use it as fuel to keep going. And here's the beautiful part. Once you've made it through your turning point, you'll never look at struggles the same way again. You'll start to see them for what they really are, stepping stones to greatness. You'll realize that every setback is just a setup for a comeback. And you'll know, deep in your soul, that no matter how hard the battle gets, the victory will always be worth it. So, take that step, make that decision. Choose to see your struggle as a gift, not a curse. Because this is your turning point. This is where everything changes. And when you look back on this moment, you'll realize it was the best thing that ever happened to you. This is it, the moment everything changes. The battle has reached its peak, and the question remains, will you crumble under the weight of it all, or will you rise? This is where champions are made, not in moments of comfort, but in moments of pressure, when the stakes couldn't be higher and the odds couldn't be lower. Imagine standing on the battlefield, sweat dripping down your face, your heart pounding in your chest. Everything you've endured up until now has been leading to this moment. Every failure, every setback, every ounce of pain, it's all been preparing you for the challenge ahead. And now, the spotlight is on you. What happens next will define who you are. The truth is, most people never reach this point. They quit when it gets hard. They fold under pressure. They convince themselves that the battle isn't worth it. But not you. You've come too far, sacrificed too much, and endured too many sleepless nights to give up now. This moment isn't just about winning. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. But let's be honest, climbing out of the darkness isn't easy. At this point in the battle, you've already fought through exhaustion, self-doubt, and fear. The finish line feels close, yet so far away. Every fiber of your being is screaming for you to stop, to rest, to retreat back to the comfort of mediocrity. But here's the thing, you're stronger than you think. You've already proven it just by making it this far. The pain you're feeling right now isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of growth. It's the fire that's forging you into something unbreakable. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who seem untouchable, unstoppable, unbreakable. Do you think their lives were easy? Do you think they coasted through without a care in the world? No. Every one of them faced battles just as hard, if not harder, than yours. The difference is that they didn't let the pain define them. They used it. They let it shape them into the warriors they are today. Let's talk about those warriors. People like Michael Jordan, who was told he wasn't good enough to make his high school basketball team. Instead of giving up, he spent every waking moment working on his game until he became the greatest player the sport has ever seen. Or Oprah Winfrey, who endured poverty, abuse, and countless rejections before becoming one of the most influential figures in the world. These stories aren't just inspiring. They're proof that the hardest battles produce the sweetest victories. So, what does this mean for you? It means that your pain is not your enemy, it's your greatest weapon. The struggle you're facing right now is sharpening you, hardening you, preparing you for the victory that's waiting on the other side. Every failure you've endured has been a lesson. Every tear you've cried has watered the seeds of your success. And every scar you've earned is a reminder that you've survived worse. But here's the catch. The battle isn't over yet. The hardest part is still ahead. This is the moment when you have to dig deeper than you ever have before. It's not enough to want it. You have to fight for it. You have to push past the pain, past the exhaustion, past the voice in your head that's telling you to quit. Because here's the truth. Pain is temporary, but regret lasts forever. The pain you're feeling right now will fade. The soreness, the exhaustion, the doubt, it's all fleeting. But if you give up now, you'll carry the regret with you for the rest of your life. You'll always wonder what could have been if you'd just pushed a little harder, held on a little longer, fought a little smarter. This is your moment to prove to yourself that you're capable of more, that you're not defined by your failures, but by how you rise after them. And when you do rise, when you push through the darkness and break into the light, you'll realize that the victory isn't just about achieving the goal, it's about who you became in the process. The struggle changes you. It strips away your insecurities, your fears, your doubts, and leaves behind something raw, something powerful. It forces you to face yourself, to confront the parts of you that you've been running from. And in that confrontation, you find your strength. You find your fire. But the climax of the battle isn't just about survival. It's about transformation. It's about taking all the pain, all the struggle, and using it to create something extraordinary. It's about turning every "I can't" into an "I will," every setback into a comeback, every failure into fuel. Because here's the truth. The battle isn't against the world. It's not against your circumstances, your enemies, or the people who doubted you. The battle is against yourself. It's against the version of you that's comfortable with mediocrity, that's afraid of failure, that's too scared to take the risk. And when you win that battle, when you conquer your own mind, there's nothing in this world that can stop you. You become unstoppable, not because the world got easier, but because you got stronger. So let me ask you, what's your battle? What's the mountain you're trying to climb? Is it a dream you've been chasing for years? A fear you've been running from? A challenge you've been avoiding? Whatever it is, know this. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. And the victory isn't just about reaching the summit. It's about the person you become along the way. It's about finding out what you're made of, about proving to yourself that you're stronger, braver, and more resilient than you ever thought possible. This is the climax of your story, the moment when everything changes. The moment when you decide that no matter how hard it gets, no matter how long it takes, you're not giving up. Because the truth is, you're capable of greatness. You've always been capable of it. The battle isn't here to break you. It's here to reveal you, to show you what you're truly made of. So, keep fighting, keep pushing, keep climbing. And when you reach the top, when you stand at the summit and look back at everything you've overcome, you'll realize that every tear, every setback, every moment of doubt was worth it. The victory is coming, and when it arrives, it will be sweeter than you ever imagined. Victory. It's a word that carries weight, one that fills your heart with fire and your mind with hope. But when you finally achieve it, when you stand at the summit of the mountain you once thought impossible to climb, it's so much more than just a word. It's a feeling, a transformation, a triumph that rewrites your story. This isn't just any victory. It's the kind of win that comes after relentless battles, sleepless nights, and moments where the world seemed determined to break you. It's the culmination of pain, sweat, and tears, woven together to create a moment so powerful that it leaves you breathless. And the best part? It's not just about reaching the goal. Sure, crossing the finish line feels incredible, but the real victory is what you've become in the process. The person who stands here today isn't the same person who started this journey. You've grown, you've transformed. You've shed layers of doubt, fear, and insecurity to reveal a version of yourself that's stronger, braver, and more determined than ever. Take a moment to think about that, to appreciate how far you've come. When you started this battle, it felt impossible. The challenges were overwhelming, the obstacles insurmountable. There were moments when you doubted yourself, when quitting seemed like the only option. And yet, here you are. You didn't just survive, you thrived. But let's dig deeper into what makes this victory so sweet. There's a unique joy that comes from earning something the hard way. When you've had to fight for every inch, every step, every moment, the reward feels different. It's not handed to you, it's not easy. And because of that, it means more. It's why stories of triumph inspire us so deeply, because they remind us that the struggle is what gives the success its value. Think about all the times you could have given up, the nights when you were overwhelmed with exhaustion, the days when nothing seemed to go right. Those were the moments that tested you. And because you didn't quit, because you kept pushing forward, you now have something that no one can ever take away. Pride. Pride in knowing that you earned this victory with your own blood, sweat, and tears. Here's the thing no one tells you about winning. It's not about the goal. It's about who you become while chasing it. Victory isn't just the destination. It's the transformation that happens along the way. You've developed resilience. You've learned to adapt, to push through pain, to find strength in moments of weakness. You've gained a deeper understanding of yourself, your limits, your capabilities, your potential. And that's a gift no amount of money or recognition can buy. In many ways, the journey to victory is like forging a sword. The metal starts out raw and unrefined, full of imperfections. But through fire, through relentless pounding and shaping, it becomes something sharp, powerful, and unstoppable. That's you. The fire of struggle didn't destroy you. It refined you. When you fought hard battles, you see the world differently. Things that once seemed like insurmountable problems now feel manageable. The noise of doubt, criticism, and negativity doesn't shake you the way it used to. You've been through the fire. You've faced the hardest challenges and you've come out the other side stronger. This victory has given you something priceless: clarity. You know what matters now. You know which battles are worth fighting and which ones aren't. You've gained a perspective that allows you to see beyond the immediate pain, beyond the temporary setbacks, and focus on the bigger picture. And because of that, you're not just stronger, you're wiser. You've learned that the world can't defeat you unless you let it. That every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. That the only limits are the ones you place on yourself. Your victory isn't just about you. It's about the ripple effect it creates. When people see you succeed, when they see you rise from the ashes of struggle, it sparks something in them. It shows them what's possible. Think about it. How many times have you been inspired by someone else's story? How many times has someone else's triumph reminded you that you're capable of more? That's the power you now hold. Your victory is proof that greatness is possible, that even in the darkest moments there's hope. You've become a beacon of strength for others, whether you realize it or not. And that's one of the greatest rewards of all, knowing that your journey can light the way for someone else. Here's the truth about victory. It's not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter. Every mountain you climb reveals another, taller one in the distance. And that's not a bad thing. It's what keeps life exciting. This victory has prepared you for whatever comes next. You've proven to yourself that you can face anything, that no challenge is too big, no obstacle too daunting. And because of that, you're ready to dream even bigger, to set new goals, take on new challenges, and continue growing. The path forward won't be easy. It never is. But now you have something you didn't have before: confidence. Confidence in your ability to overcome, to persevere, to rise no matter how hard you fall. And that confidence, it's your greatest weapon. As you stand at the summit of your victory, take a moment to reflect, to feel gratitude, not just for the win, but for the journey that brought you here. Gratitude for the struggles, the failures, the moments of doubt, because they shaped you. Gratitude for the people who doubted you, because they fueled your fire. And gratitude for yourself, for refusing to quit, for believing in your potential, for fighting when it would have been easier to give up. Because that's what this victory is really about. You, your strength, your resilience, your refusal to settle for anything less than greatness. When you've fought your way to the top, when you've tasted the sweetness of victory, you realize something incredible. Nothing can stop you. The battles you've faced have given you a strength that can't be broken, a fire that can't be extinguished. You've proven to yourself that no matter how hard life gets, you have what it takes to rise. And that knowledge? It's the sweetest victory of all. So here you are, standing in the glow of your triumph, stronger than you've ever been. But this is just the beginning. There are more mountains to climb, more battles to fight, more victories to win. And you'll face them all with the same fire, the same determination, the same relentless spirit that brought you here. Because now you know, the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Your battle isn't over, it's just beginning. If this message lit a fire in you, subscribe and share it to inspire others to rise.